This episode of The Mental Tide is brought to you by Cowboy Grooming Co. Cowboy Grooming Co. was started because the founders, Dan and Kate, struggled to find a hair product that was made out of natural ingredients and wouldn't come out through water or sweat. Incorporating their love of country, their goal is to make Cowboy Grooming Co. the go-to grooming product for men, alongside brands like R.M. Williams and Ringers Weston. Every grooming product they produce is made by them in their hometown of Maitland, and the goal is to keep it that way. Put simply, when you look good, you feel good, and they love knowing that they are part of that process of helping blokes feel good. On top of that, a portion of their online profits are donated to rural aid. It's important to Dan and Kate that as a country brand, they put their money where their mouth is and donate to some of Australia's hardest workers. Head over to their socials and pick up some cowboy gear today. You're listening to the Mental Tide podcast with Dan Vassallo. Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Mental Tide podcast. I'm Dan Vassallo, and today with me I have a very special guest in Brett Cerner. Brett, how are you, buddy?
Very well, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Mate, it's an absolute pleasure to have you jump into the podcast today and to have a bit of a chat around, fatherhood mainly, and I guess parenthood as well. What we did together in doing NLP together, and I guess just any sort of general conversation that comes up. So really excited to touch in on that. But, I like to start these sort of conversations with, I know about you. I know who you are. I know your backstory. I know the trials and tribulations of what you've done as a person, what path you're going down currently and in your life with your family and whatnot. Give me and the listeners a little bit more of a flavor as to who Brett is and what's going on in your world, man.
Yeah, great. So, I'm a father of four. We're an unschooling family of six altogether, and I grew up in a home where there was a lot of love, but there was also a lot of emotional disconnection. And my father wasn't there a lot for me when I was a young fella. And when I first become a father, 2014, I had this pivotal. This can go tangent here, right? I had this pivotal moment where this new little human has come into the world. I know it's no longer about me anymore. This little human is so dependable on me to lead and nurture and guide. And I wanted to be there 100% for my family, right? And this all stems from growing up throughout a childhood where I didn't have a lot of love. I didn't have a lot of connection. I didn't have a lot of guidance from, what fathers are meant to do. They're meant to kick you in the ass and steer you in the right direction, right? And now, 4 children later, a lot of grey hair, a lot of sleepless nights. It's a journey, man. And yourself being a father, it's a journey that, no one tells you what it's going to be like. No one tells you. And some days I'm just like, fuck, like I'm going to swear, like this is who I am. So there's some days where I wake up and I go, fuck, like crying babies, asking 10 million questions. How do I get fucking time for myself? And how do I show up as the dad that I should be, right? And fuck, it's a journey, bro.
Oh, mate, I resonate. I'm one less than you. I've got 3. I've got a 7 and almost 5, and then a almost 2.5-year-old. And the struggle is real. And full transparency, we flirted the idea around of having a 4th, and my wife's just started a home daycare, and
beautiful.
She's got a young, I think it's about 9-month-old that she looks after, and it's solidified to her that no, the gates are shut. It's a no-fly zone. It's not happening, and it was great because
what what we've gone through with, especially with our eldest Evie, in her being diagnosed so early with stage 2 autism,
Hmm.
it really gave us that sort of opportunity to go, we need to figure out what we're doing, how we're doing it, if we're doing it the right way, and make sure that
Mm.
what we can provide and what we can do as parents,
Mm.
for not just the eldest but the two that follow,
Yeah.
we're doing the best that we can.
Yeah.
Um, and it's definitely added a level of complexity into our daily structure.
Hmm.
Um, if you're aware of anybody with autism, or how it goes, one thing can just set off the day, and one thing can lead to a snowball effect of bad decisions and attitude and
Mm.
behavior, and it's difficult.
Mm. Mm.
However, we've come to terms with how to deal with things, and how to
Mm.
tackle things, and
Mm.
it could be the smallest thing. I'll give you an example, which happened yesterday. So on a Monday, I take Evie to occupational therapy, and on a Tuesday, I take her to speech therapy.
Hmm.
And we've just changed our speech therapists. So all of a sudden, that's a red flag, because it's change and it's something new. So with an autistic person,
Mm.
that's a big learning curve, right? To learn
Hmm.
somebody completely new, bring something completely new into the atmosphere. So that was already massive.
Mm.
And then also in doing that, I stopped doing a weekly routine with Evie in buying her a small trinket of candy on the way to speech
Hmm.
therapy, right?
Hmm.
And for me, unconsciously, I didn't think much of it. I was just like, I'm running short of time, so I'll pick it up next week. I'll pick it up next week. I'll pick it up next week, and I didn't do it, to the point where yesterday when I picked her up from school, the first question was, "Oh, just get me some Tic Tacs." And I was like, "Oh no, you didn't ask for them, so I didn't get them for you." And then a wall was just brought up straight away. She shut up. She
Mm.
shut up shop completely, in non-responsive. Didn't want to be a part of anything. Didn't want to go to speech. And I was just like, "The fuck?" I was like, I said, well, and then I put it on her, and I was just like, "Well, if you don't tell me that you want these things, like I don't know."
Mm.
So anyway, we got to speech. We started doing our thing. And I said to the speech as soon as we got there, I was just like, just FYI, she's in a mood. She's got her walls up. It's not going to happen. So we'll pry as gently as we can.
Mm.
Whatever comes will come.
Mm.
And we're sitting there going through the motions. And then I don't know what happened, but it's like a light switch turned on. I was like, this is me. Like, I've done this, because I have unconsciously, I've stopped doing these things that for me don't matter, but they're
Mm.
in her routine and set in her routine.
Mm.
That I've set her up to have a bad experience, because it's part of her day to day, or week to
Yeah.
week, if you will. And I said to the speech, I was like, I'll put my hand up and own this. I said, I've fucked up here, because
Mm.
I've now broken the trust and broken the routine of, I'm meant to get something prior to speech, which sets me up to
Mm.
succeed and sets me up to win.
Yeah.
And Speechy being Speechy, who is also autistic and ADHD, she was like, I get it. She's like, let me try something. And so she bartered a little bit and was like, hey, Evie, if you come and sit here with me, I think I've got lollipops downstairs. You might be able to have one if we do some sort of play together. Mate, bing, she was switched on straight away.
Wow.
So
Wow.
there's and the reason why I bring it up is, it's like, to the point that you just made on, you never know what you're going to get. Every day is going to be
Mm.
different, and as structured and as regimented things can be,
Mm.
in our life, and with each kid, everyone's got their own sort of way that they like to talk, be spoken to, or the way that they behave, or or their
Mm.
little cute little mannerisms that they do. Everything's different, right?
Mm.
Um, and though, you just never know what the fuck you're going to get. Like, you genuinely have no idea what the day's going to
Yeah.
bring. And I can
Yeah.
only imagine what it's like with four.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's totally resonate with what you're saying too. Like in our minds as the father, like that small little thing doesn't affect us in our day-to-day thinking at all. But then when we, we're being selfish in our way of thinking then, but when we actually incorporate, hey, well, this is what they want, we're like, it's the tiniest things, and this I think translates into everything in life, right? It's the smallest things that can create massive waves of effect in your day-to-day life, right? And having 4 kids, it's a day-to-day challenge that I also face, as well, as because we're all so different, and we all require a different level of energy. We all require different levels of attention. How do we navigate through those waters where we're being fair to everybody? And that's something that I faced on the daily, is challenging for me, because, the most important relationship that we have isn't with our children. It's with ourselves, right? And as men, we do such a great job of not pouring into our own cup and coming from a place of, putting ourselves first. We're very quick to put our families first. We're very quick to put everyone else first. But then we, throughout the day, we're pouring from an empty cup. And as you know, being a father to 3 little kids, like that doesn't fly, man.
No, and thanks, man, because that's awesome. That's an awesome opportunity to talk about this next part, because the fact that in order to get the best out of somebody, we need to be at our best level,
100%.
right? And in order to, and man, to full transparency, I felt like such a piece of shit when that light bulb moment happened yesterday. I felt like the biggest piece of shit, and I felt like such a shit dad, because I was just like, how the fuck did I not see this? Like, how did I not pick up on something that I've created in a habit that I've created by, I've got control of the money in this aspect by purchasing something for her. I've then unconsciously removed that. It's come back on me, and I was just like, fucking idiot. Like, how did you not see that? And to what you said about, I guess showing up for ourselves first, to then cascade that rhythm and cascade that energy and cascade that sort of attentiveness that the kids will need. It's massive, man, because I'm working with a guy at the moment who is sort of gone down the same path, where he's split with his partner, got the kids, on the parental sort of 50-50 stuff that they do. And what he's not doing is he's not looking after himself in the aspect of mentally looking after himself by filling his cup with self-love.
Yeah.
And what he's so focused on doing, and where he's pouring all of his divine masculine, divine feminine energy, which is fantastic, is into the cups of his kids.
Yeah.
And he's leaving himself to the wayside. He's got a great relationship with his kids, but what is happening is he's seeing the ex grow and continue to move on, bring somebody else into somebody new into the realm, and he's sitting here going, yeah, but what about me? Because he's trying to be the best dad, and he's trying to be the best father figure that he can for these 2 kids who are now, and you'll resonate, essentially living through a broken home, living through a situation where he doesn't want them to feel like it's on them. He doesn't want them to feel like this is happening because of A, B, or C. But he's neglecting himself and just steering completely off, straying from the path of, hey, mate, you also, do you know that if you don't tend to your needs and to your cares and to things that you need to show up 100% on a daily basis, that's not going to flow down. And it's so fucking important. And it's just, it's left completely by the wayside. And I feel like it's something that, as males, like you just said, we struggle with so hard because of the weight of expectation on what you should be doing as a dad and as a father, and what that looks like on the outside versus what it actually is.
100%. And I feel like a really powerful point to what you've just said is, all of these patterns that we carry with us as men, it's an unconscious thing that we've adapted from our own fathers, and that's not a negative thing at all. It's just, it's a fact. We carry generational patterns with us, but it gets to the point where, however you were raised, if you were raised in a loving home or a broken home, we get to choose as men how we carry forward and lead our own children, right? And how do we do that? First, we need to learn how to lead ourselves as men. And the first step to knowing how to lead ourselves is accepting that we're not perfect, and accepting, most importantly, that we have emotions, and we're allowed to be angry. We're allowed to be sad. We're allowed to feel like a failure, right?
Yeah.
But what we're not allowed to do is, Dean, is carry the same patterns that we received from our parents, again, whether they were negative or positive. We get to choose as human beings, as fathers, as men, how we craft a healthy reality for our children to thrive in, right?
Yes.
You know, and what does it look like to pour time into yourself? It can be as little as just going for a walk or going for a run before the kids get up, meditating, doing some breath work, writing some stuff down.
Yeah.
So then for the rest of the day, you know that you started your day for yourself. You didn't start your day for everybody else, right? And when
Absolutely.
men, and this is for men and women, when we can pour from a full cup, everyone receives the highest, best version of who we are, right?
Yep.
And that's what we want. We don't want people to experience us like if we want to go into like a vibrational, energetic arena, we don't want people to be experiencing us from like a super low vibrational frequency, because then from an energetic standpoint, they don't want to be around people that, you know, make them feel shit. Where, because bro, when you feel bad energy, you feel bad energy, and you don't want to be around that sort of stuff. And that goes into your kids as well, right?
Yep.
And there is no right and there is no wrong. There's just the way that is aligned with your values and beliefs, and how everybody else thinks that you should raise your children isn't up to them.
Mate, and yeah, you couldn't have said it better. That is bang on. That is on point. I think so. What I've taken from that, Brett, is like, it's so important. And it's something that I do and something I preach with my clients, and something that we do in teaching is what does, and I've just recently put something on my social media about it today, is what does your 100% look like? Like, what is it? And I do this with each of my guys. It's a little method that I've put together and that I've created. What does your baseline on a daily basis look like? What do you need to do that gets you to 100% so that everybody around you can vibe off you and can feel and feed off you from an energetic perspective, from an emotional perspective, from a perspective of, oh, I actually want to be around Dad today. Like, you know, because, you know, if you wake up in a foul mood, you don't do your morning routine, your morning rituals, whatever it is that you might or might not do, who's going to feel that wrath? It's the people around you. And it's so very, very easy to neglect it and to not give it the love and nurturing that it needs. And though it's on you to do that. Like, you can't peg that on anybody else to do, because it's you that chooses not to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and go for a run. It's you that chooses not to literally roll out of your bed first thing in the morning and sit on the floor and meditate in yourself for 10 or 15 minutes. That's your choice. Like, if you don't want to do that, that's cool, dude. That's not a problem. But then don't get the shits at everybody else because you're having a fucking bad day. Maybe you should have set yourself up correctly in the first place.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I think sort of on that as well is, as much as it's our responsibility in one and the same, there's also that responsibility that you can flow down to your partner. And you know, because it's a two-way street, right? It's you're in the race, and this is my opinion, this is my perspective, how I see it is, you know, you go into a relationship, or you go into a marriage to do things together and to work together and collaborate together and grow together and bring things together. So if you're looking at it from a perspective of it's a one-horse race, you're in the wrong fucking race.
Yeah.
You know, it's, if your partner then is not feeling the same energy or on the same page, or they're not getting the same nourishment and fulfillment that you're getting to yourself, how can you then help them? And what can you do for them?
Yeah.
To go, cool, what do you need? What can I do for you today that's going to help you out? And I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to do all your shit, all your chores. I'm not going to rock up to work for you and do your job for you, but what can I do in my power to help you get through the day, or that's going to help you show up a little bit stronger into your 100%.
Yeah.
I think that's super important as well.
100%, man. I really fucking love that, because I feel like, talking about the masculine and the feminine, I feel like, and I can only speak from my own experiences through the conversations that I've had in the past, a lot of men don't, and this isn't a negative thing because we don't know what we don't know, right?
Yeah.
A lot of men, and I have been like this for a very, very long time, we don't allow our women to be in their feminine, right? Like, because as mothers, what are they doing? They're doing. They're always busy. They don't get time to actually feel, because the feminine, like, they flow, like they like to be more softer in their energy. But as men in the masculine, like, what do? We do. We like structure. But when, yourself, because you've probably experienced this, when you have two masculine energies always butting heads, what happens? There's conflict. There's negative energy all the time. So in saying that, like that's how relationships flourish and grow. It's like having that level of open communication where you both honor each other. Like, for an example, right? Like, my wife Rihanna is breastfeeding, so she's only 10 weeks old, so she has always got this little human attached to her body 24 hours a day. So she doesn't get time to actually be who she is, right? Like, she's not just a mother, she's a human being. She's her own soul. So for me, like, not being fair on her, I would just, like, okay, for an example, I'll just go to the gym and not actually honor her and ask her, hey, babe, is there something that I can allow you to do right now to give you the space to, pour into yourself right now? And that's something that I find, it's a constant challenge for me, bro. Like, I'm not fucking perfect, man.
Yeah.
But it's something where I'm very aware that, being in a relationship for 20 years, we've been together for 20 years this year.
Awesome.
Relationships are hard, man. They're not meant to be easy. And, something that I've been experiencing lately, Dean, is everything that I find challenging is just the merit of the things that I need to fucking pull back the layers on my own personal development.
Mate, I'm so glad you said that. That's so that's so important, and it's so fucking prevalent. I speak to so many men on a daily basis, whether it be through a text message, a voice chat, whatever. And there's such an avoidance on confronting that fear and confronting that, oh, there's something there. I might just pretend I didn't see it. I might just steer clear and maybe not bring that up again so I don't have to face it. And it's so fucked. And a little analogy that I like to use with my clients and people I work with and just in general is the idea of a video game. Because I'm a big nerd at heart. And I love my video games. I love my books. I love my fantasy. I love my sci-fi. I'm a massive nerd. And so I look at it from the perspective of when you're playing a video game, you come up against a boss, come up against a challenge. And what will happen with that is you'll need to figure out a way to beat them or to progress into the next level, right? And then traditionally what happens is once you do that, then you then get a new set of skills or attributes to then add to your arsenal of weaponry or skills or moves. So then when the next challenger comes, the next boss, you've got a new level of moves and attributes that you can go, fuck, okay, cool. I'm going to try this to deal with this. And if this doesn't work, it's okay. It's just how do I then continuously evolve and continuously move through the motions and the flow of I'm developing as I'm going. There's challenges 100%. However, that's completely fine. It's completely fine. And I think a really cool lever to pull, especially in the coaching world, is shadow work with this sort of stuff, because it's so damning to ask a question and have somebody completely capitulate and crumble based off the answer that they know in themselves is true, and it just highlights how much of an insecurity there can be on how avoidant they are of dealing with these topics.
Yeah.
And mate, it is. And I had a guy a couple of weeks back where I found a trigger word that whenever I said this word, while I was doing the shadow work with him, he would choke up a little bit, and I could hear it in his voice. And the word was proud. And proud is it's a very big word, especially for men, right? And I used it on him because I knew that it was going to evoke the right outcome for him. And it was what he needed, because it was something he needed to face into, and he needed to confront it, because he kept dodging, he kept ducking around it. And I was like, no, 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 we're not going to fuck around. We're going to get into it. And I purposefully kept using the proud word. Are your kids proud of you? Do you think your parents are proud of you? Are you proud of yourself? And he broke. And the after fact of what just happened in that was his evolution just evolved, and he just blossomed into this fucking beast of a man. And it was his tipping point where he was just like, I am fucking proud. Like, I am proud of who I am. I'm proud of the dad I am, because I'm showing these guys, he's got 2 sons, I'm showing them how to be a good man and how to be a great father and a great masculine figure in their life. And I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, that is,
dude.
It's magic, man. It's absolute magic.
Isn't it insane though, the power of language, and just by bringing up a certain word can trigger and bring back either so much joy or so much, sorrow and hurt. And, as you said, like, the shadow is where the work is. And it's hard, bro. Shadow work is honestly the most confronting and triggering thing any human being can put their hand up and put your energy into.
Oh,
because what it does, like, a really great book, and you can even put this in the notes if you have not read this book, The Gene Keys.
Cool.
It has, in regards to, like, we're talking about shadow work, learning about what your human design is, and, like, are you a manifesting generator, your projector, all of the things. This book literally shows you what your shadows are, like the evolution of who we are as human beings.
Yeah.
And it has your direct shadows as to what is in your human chart. If you don't have that book, I highly suggest you read it.
I'm going to add it to my list. Add it to my lengthy Amazon book list.
Yeah. Yeah. And man, the power that you have within yourself as a coach to bring out that level of commitment, and also, like, triggering that your client into feeling a lot of the emotions that he had to move through in order to step forward into the powerful man that he is like, that is fucking powerful, to harness that skill and harness that gift to bring that out of people, man. And, NLP, all of the things and work that you've done on yourself is it's what everyone I believe should have access to, as you said, to add that tool to your tool belt.
Honestly, don't get me wrong, like, there's a level of enjoyment that I get out of not making them cry or making them invoke a certain emotion, but knowing that they're going to evolve from it, and knowing that they're going to level up and go, like, I've been avoiding that for, I don't know, 17 years. If I just face into it back then, I might not be where I am now. And like, just that power of just like, dude, just deal with your shit. And trust me, like, everything will come full circle. And that's where I feel the element of fear comes into play, because it's fear of the unknown. It's fear of, but what if? Yeah, exactly. But fucking what if? But what if? Like, look at it from the glass half full, then half empty. But what if? Like, from that positive standpoint.
100%.
Yeah, and that's what I feel as well, is just like really, really just avoided,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that, man.
I just want to share
100.
Because you experienced this when we did NLP together, right? Or just to give the viewers and the listeners some context, right? When I went in to learn NLP, not for any other intentions other than to learn more about who I am and who I will continue to be as a man.
Yep.
And my whole life, I didn't know how to cry. I mean, I cried. The last time I cried was like when I was 12 years old. I was 36 at the time I learned NLP. And, going back to the word fear, the first day I was very reserved. I was very emotionally shut off. The ego was in control of my emotions and what I actually wanted to experience in that room. But on day two, I walked into that room going, fuck, I'm here to play all out. I'm here to actually go all in and really fucking dive to the depths of why can't I cry? Why can I not show my emotions as a man and show my children that it's okay to have emotions, right? And I get full fucking body goosebumps talking about it because I know, like, on day two, Liz, who was the one who guided us through this beautiful gift, she said 3 words to me and the taps just went boom, turned on. I learned how to cry. I was fucking embarrassed because predominantly in a room full of 80% women, and here I am in a ball of tears, just feeling all these emotions that have been so fucking suppressed my whole life. But, through that, I learned how to fucking express who I am as a man. I learned that, my whole life, Dean, I thought that I was an angry person. I felt like I was so angry and I didn't know how to express myself. But I learned that I'm just sad, man. I was just sad my dad wasn't there. I wish that he was there. My mum brought all these really negative men into our lives, and I experienced some fucking things that no one should experience, right? But in this moment, like, I get to choose how that affects me, and that all came out from crying, man. Learning how to just accept that, men have emotions. We can cry. Like, it's such a beautiful thing to be able to, like, just to fucking allow that emotion to move through the body, and who gives a fuck how it looks, right? Because
Absolutely.
it's not about anybody else but ourselves.
Thanks for that, man. That was amazing, and I couldn't agree with you more. I even though I attended virtually NLP, I haven't cried that much in a long time, and I experienced my own stuff in doing that, and in going through the stuff that we went through over those 7 days. And
yeah,
I mean, can I ask you, what were the 3 words that Liz said to you?
Fuck, I honestly, I would not be answering that correctly because I don't know what those words were.
Sure.
But all I know is that I feel like my ego was just ready to be, like, I was ready to let go, man.
Sure. Yeah.
And something that I've held on to my whole life was, I've hated, and I use that word hate with, no judgment on myself. I've hated my father. I've hated the decisions that he made to leave me as a little boy to grow up, in a world where, fuck, my mum did her best, man. I was a shit of a kid. I was a very rebellious young man. And, until I learned how to forgive my dad, I couldn't forgive myself. I couldn't step forward and, receive love into my life. And something that, is really powerful as a father is, if we don't know how to receive love ourselves, how can we show our children how to love? How can we show our children what a good relationship is?
Absolutely. Fuck. Spot on, mate. That's gave me goosebumps. That's accurate. I mean, when you look at a loveless, connectionless relationship that happens in the house, your children will become products of their environment. That's what happens. So you can't sit at home swearing your head off, and then when the kid goes to school and does the same thing, get angry with them. You can't. They're just learning it from you. You're setting that principle. You're setting that foundation. You're setting an example of, well, this is okay. And I've got nothing against swearing. Like, I use it as a really loose example, right? But far out, man. Like, what you just said in regards to, if you don't see that love and your children don't see that love, well, they're not going to know what love is. They're not going to know how to accept love and how to give love back. If that's not something that's brought to the forefront, and I get people are different. Some people's, you look at love languages, some people don't like to receive a physical touch love. Some people don't like to, go down the path of, I'm a private person. I don't like people seeing me vulnerable and seeing, me being smothered with affection. That's cool. That's completely fine. However, you can't let, in my opinion, that sort of driver and that sort of approach, you got to pick your audience. Especially when you're trying to teach something, you got to pick your audience. And especially with kids, because they have so many developmental stages of imprint, like being specific with the message that you're preaching to your kids, or what you want them to learn as kids, or what you don't want them to learn as kids as well. Pick that timing, pick the audience, pick where you are when you set an example. Because if you go and ridicule and discipline a kid in front of all their friends and family and stuff like that, you're right then and there. Was that the right place to do that?
Yeah.
Because now you're setting up an expectation. That whenever they're in that sort of environment, they go up, their shields are up, they're in a completely closed environment, and you're not going to get the best out of it. You got to pick your audience, and you got to pick your battles.
100%. Sorry, dude. I'd just like to share like a story on that. For our eldest daughter, she's 10, and our eldest daughter, she received the unhealed version of me. So I'm just going to share some of the things that the patterns and behaviors that she has, because I was an unhealed person for the very first 6 years of her life. Right now, with her younger brother, right, he is very scared of the dark, right? Like and we all were at one stage of our life, right? But what our daughter does is she goes, "Oh, you're scared," and she shames him for feeling this emotion of being scared, right? And I always pull up and I say, Mackenzie, scared is an emotion, and what you're doing is shaming him for feeling an emotion. But what's happening is like this is a mirror to you to look back on yourself and go, hey, am I the actual person that's scared of the dark here? And I'm shameful, and I don't feel like I'm a good person because I'm scared of the dark, right? And I know that might not make a lot of sense to some people, but what I'm trying to say, like what I'm trying to get at is, what example are we setting for our kids? As you said, if we're not showing up and we're not actually leading from a place of, just leading. I'm a little bit stuck for words there, because I'm stuck in that. I'm looking back at it last night. She did it. My daughter did it to him last night, and it was very real. I keep saying this because it's a pattern that continues to show up, right?
It's so 100% understand exactly what you're saying. I completely get it. And I put this on my socials last night, where, just as an example, my eldest, Evie, came in when she was meant to be in bed. It's about 8 o'clock, 10 past 8, something like that. And she wanted to meditate with me. She does that in her own sort of way by, she can do something in her room with her rocks or whatever. Like she has her own way of I guess grounding or getting into her own body so that she can fall asleep or she can have great dreams or whatever. But because she sees dad doing it, it's mirroring, oh, I want to do that. Because the fucked up thing, right, is that when we're old, all we want to do is be young. And when we're young, all we want to do is be old. And it's so bizarre that I'd give anything to go back to school. I fucking hated school with a passion. Hated school. However, life was so much easier. And all our young kids, all they want to do is be adults. They just want to be grown up. They just want to be like mum. They just want to be like dad. And I found so much beauty in that last night, where she's like, I just want to be like you. I just want to meditate with you. I was like, 100%. I was like, even though you're meant to be in bed, I'll take this opportunity to be with you and experience and share something with you. So that you can have a memory. You can have a positive reflection of the things that we do together, because I don't want that to be, I don't want you to look back and go, I never really did anything with dad. Like, all he did was yell and all he did was, and that's now who I am, because now all I do is yell. I don't
Yeah.
want that. I want to have
Yeah.
positive outcomes, and it's hard to then communicate with the kids. And I don't know if you feel this as well, if you go through the same sort of thing. And based off what your story was around the dark, it might be similar, but especially when they're young, understanding not what's right and what's wrong, but we do a really conscious effort with our kids of trying to get them not just good, bad, but more in their feels, and more not necessarily spiritually, but what actually happens to people with emotions and with impact.
Yeah.
And like, by saying specific words to people and doing specific things, how that can hurt people. And it's not just, oh, that was bad, don't do that. It's like, yeah, but why?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love the
100%.
fact that you sat there and explained it to her, like,
Yeah.
this is what you're doing, and this is how it's impacting him and how it's hurting him. Like, this is not okay. I think that's magic, dude. I think that's fucking so powerful to do that.
Yeah.
And like, props to you, dude.
Yeah. I would like to share. Thank you, by the way. I received that. And my son, he's very soft in nature. He's very gentle. He's like, he loves expressing his emotions, and he has a lot of them, man. And when he has a moment where he needs to cry or he hurts himself, we were at the skate park the other day, and he hurt himself in front of a whole bunch of other young guys, and I could see he didn't want to cry. He felt so under pressure to be seen in that emotion. And I ran over there and I sat with him, and I literally sit down. I'm not above him. I'm on his level. And I say, hey, it's just you and me, brother. Let it out. And I get full body goosebumps,
I just got goosebumps right now, man.
Yeah.
I'm fucking shivering.
That's the type of dad I want to be remembered for, dude. I want my kids to know that, and this is why I do what I do, because we only get one shot at life, right? And it's very fucking short, right? I want to be there for my children. I want my children to really reflect on their upbringing, where I actually was there to hear, listen, and see who they are, right? And in that moment where Kai is my son's name, where he didn't want to express and show who he really was because of the pressures of other people, it gets me thinking, right? How many adults in this world don't want to be seen for being vulnerable, don't want to be seen expressing their emotions, right? And going back to, no one wants to yell at their kids, but I can fucking 100% vouch for many of the people in the world come home and they yell at their kids. Why do they yell at their kids, man? Because this goes back to, they're coming home and their cup is empty. They're coming home from work unfulfilled in what they do in their day-to-day life, and then they take that emotion and hurt out on their families, dude.
Yeah, it's fucking rough, man. It is. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that'll go into the next tangent on work. And I think that there's a massive opportunity in with what you just said around what are you bringing home from work, right? And we spoke briefly last week, and I let you know, like, I quit the corporate 9 to 5 6-figure job a couple of weeks back, man, and thank you, and it's the best I've ever felt. Like, it's the strongest I've ever felt. It's the most aligned I've ever felt. And the relationship that I had prior to that with my eldest, with Evie, like, we had a relationship, but it wasn't strong. She was very much in my wife's camp, which is fine, right? Completely fine. However, what has happened since I've removed that work element from coming home, or bringing stuff home with me, or logging off for the day in a fucking shit mood because something's gone wrong, or I've brought that energy into the dinner table, and then that's cascaded down to everybody else. Our relationship, mine and my eldest, has just grown and blossomed. And last night was a perfect example. Right? It's just like you didn't see her coming in, knocking on the door, going, "I want to be cranky like dad when he's at work," or "I want to
Yeah.
be upset like dad when he's at work." She came and said, "I want to be at peace with dad while he's meditating. I want to be at
Yeah.
peace with him. Well, I want to be with him while he's doing something that he's enjoying, and
Yeah.
he's won in."
Mm.
And the want and the thirst and the need to be present for any, and this isn't just for me, but this is for any men or fathers or even mothers out there, that are struggling with, why am I so angry? Why do I yell all the time at my kids? Why do I go to bed in a fucking shit mood and wake up in a shit mood?
Yeah.
It's a great question. And it comes back to, what are you doing throughout the day that's bringing that energy and that emotion, that feeling in? And if it keeps stemming around to work, then do something about it.
Yeah.
Because I got so tired of having arguments post work around my attitude and my behavior and what I was bringing, which I own. Accountability, 100%. I own that shit.
Yeah.
But I did something about it, because I didn't, again, like we spoke about before, I don't want to be remembered as the dad who was, he was there in body, but was he actually mentally there? No.
Yeah.
He was a complete fucking shell of a person. And that's what I turned out being like. And in the back end of my work, I was just like, I don't even know who the fuck I am. I don't know why I'm here. Like, I am so fucking lost. And I hated that. I did something about it.
Yeah. Fucking hope you did.
Bro, and it was the hardest yet the easiest thing I've ever had to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, moving through that experience, it is a liberating feeling, and it's a liberating experience, and knowing that your life and the way that you provide and protect for your family is no longer dependent of an employer, right? And I feel like there's many mothers and fathers, people with no kids as well, that are moving through life attached to their occupation, but emotionally, they know that that is not their purpose. They know that that is not what they were born to do, right? And I feel the fastest way to move away and forward into what you should be doing is understanding that the ego creates this emotional attachment to your occupation, right? I'll just talk into my own experience.
Yeah, go for it.
In the building industry as a carpenter my whole life, my view and the narrative that I've followed is, men, to be the protectors and providers for their family, they need to go to work from dark till dark every day, physically exert themselves, and come home tired, emotionally unavailable for their family, and repeat that process their whole life, right? How do you move away from that? How do you move away from that? And you know yourself, that is a question for you. How did you come to the realization after being in corporate and creating, a high six-figure income? How did you actually come to the realization that it was not your purpose?
The realization that stemmed for me around this was the impact that it was having on my mental health. Bottom line. And there had been way too many circumstances and instances where I didn't know what I was doing. I've in the last 6 months of that corporate gig, it's the loneliest I've ever felt. As a person, as an employee, it's the loneliest that I've ever felt. And like, I get it. Businesses change, structures change, things evolve. That's how you stay relevant. So completely get it. However, it didn't align with me, and it didn't resonate with my core values, my core beliefs as a person. It didn't hit the notes that I wanted it to hit, or that it should have been hitting.
Yeah.
And because it wasn't there, again, I was just a body. I was soulless. I was directionless. I was rudderless. I was a boat without a rudder. I just didn't have that trajectory or that steer to go, hey, you should really be enjoying your job. And I was just like, yeah, I guess so. Like, it pays the bills.
Mm.
Like, imagine fucking spending 40 hours a week just going, oh yeah, like I'm here. What the fuck is that? Like, like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
insane. And the fact
Yeah.
that, and now being on the other side of that, people just go through life like that, and just and I, like I love where we live. Like almost 2.5 years up here in Port Stephens, fucking amazing. How I survived 35 years in Western Sydney, I have no idea. When we travel back there for family events and for things, as soon as I get off that highway, I'm like, send me back. I just want to go back. I can't do it.
Yeah.
However, some people can. And they just they just acclimatized, and they are just so conditioned to, oh well, this is life. Yeah, but it's not. The rat race and the concrete jungle, it's not. Like that's not, that's what you may think life is, but it's not.
Yeah.
Life is, imagine waking up. I can't remember who I said this to. I said, but imagine waking up one day and going, oh my God, I'm actually going to enjoy my day today. I'm going to like fully embrace whatever comes through, whatever happens. I'm going to actually enjoy it. It's rare. However, people who have, and if you want to talk, I guess, conspiracy or too deep, people who have disconnected from that matrix element of thinking, people who are like, fuck, I can't wait for today. I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm so excited. And the people who are still like, fuck, work tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
man.
Oh,
Yeah.
bro, I cannot resonate any higher with the idea of running my own race, beating my own drum more.
Yeah. 100%. I feel and I know we all have a mission, right? And it's not to build up somebody else's business to the point where you're getting paid the crumbs, right? Because that's what the 9 to 5 life is. I don't care if you're earning high 6-figure money, you're still building the back end of somebody else's business. However, when you wake up, because you're experiencing this now, when you wake up on your own time, having the ability to invest your energy and your time into things that actually serve a purpose, then actually serve other people, that is the purpose of life, right? We are not, and people can call it the matrix and call it rat racing, call it whatever, right? We are not born to work our whole lives in a job that doesn't serve any other purpose than just money. We're not. It's not what we're here to do. When you accept that, when you accept and know that you're actually worthy of more than just getting paid fucking, I don't know, let's just say you make $1,000, $2,000 a week. But how does that actually allow you to live your life? Like we all know, we're all experiencing this, and the economic landscape right now is fucking crazy.
Yep.
How are people surviving with the money that they make now? And seriously, how do people survive? Like 150 grand 5 years ago was okay money.
Yeah.
Now
it's just
150 grand just fucking disappears like that, dude.
It's almost minimum wage. And I know that sounds mental saying that, but like that's almost like, oh, like that's entry level. Okay, cool.
Yeah. That's the reality, right?
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah. And it's not coming from a place of like egotistical at all. It's like that's the reality of the world that we live in right now, right? Like I was listening to a guy yesterday, and a question that was asked him is like, okay, there's a lot of people that are experiencing a lot of financial stress and struggle right now. What would be the fastest way to move through that? And the answer was cutting cost and scaling the fuck out of your income, because that's the solution right now, right? Is learning how to make more money. It's like contradictory here. How do people think of making more money? They work more hours in their job. They work a Saturday, which is actually taking them further out of their lives.
Yep. It just steers away from that congruency of what you said you're going to do.
Yeah. And it's
It's so fucked.
It is. That's the best way to put it. It is fucked.
Yeah, it really is. Like, the just and I guess the saving grace in it is that everybody's going through it together. Like the living crisis, the cost of living crisis is like everyone's experiencing. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO or stacking shelves. Like everyone's going through it at some level. It's just everybody's wage at the end of the week looks different, but everyone's going through the same thing in the same, at the same time. And I mean, it doesn't make it any easier. Like I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
I think for people, though, it's good to know, and like everybody knows, but have a little bit more peace and understanding in the fact that it's not you.
Yeah.
Everybody's experiencing it. There isn't one Joe Blow right now that isn't going through, or isn't 100%. Staying awake, or isn't stressing over finances, or isn't like looking over their shoulder on something that isn't financially driven. There is 100%. There is such an element of that, especially now in this day and age, where it's just like, fuck. Even though we've got 2 full-time jobs, like we're still worried about finances. It's like, how the fuck is that? How is that possible?
Yeah.
When not to go back in the olden day, but like back in the day, dude, it's literally the father could work and the mother could stay at home. How have we gotten so fucking far away from that?
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's the way
that reliance now for both bodies to be working full time.
Yeah, 100%. And full, like, taking ownership of, I used to be there, dude. And I feel like, as you said, 80% of the world population is moving through that exact thing right now, right? However, we get to choose whether we allow that to affect us moving forward, or we actually put our hand up and say, you know what? I'm the creator of this experience right now, and I can actually choose to create more and not play victim to this experience, and flip the script here, going from fuck, why me? Why are we experiencing interest rates hikes, mortgage repayments going up, the price of fuel, all of these things, right? We get to choose, okay, what's the solution? Making more money. We get to choose, right? We are the creators of how we experience our day-to-day reality. And if your reality revolves around lack of financial flow, you get to create an abundance of financial flow as well, right? You just have to say, you know what? I'm fucking sick of living like this. I cannot stand and continue through my life. And this goes back to the children as well. What example am I setting for my children if I just allow things externally control the way that we experience life?
Absolutely. Spot on.
Like you go from a high 6-figure income in corporate to now being in present, 100% emotionally available for your family. Why? Because you knew you were worthy of more. You 100%. Decided to get uncomfortable and upskill, man.
And thanks, man. And I fucking couldn't agree with you more. The people that I've spoken to post this happening have been handshakes. It's like, congratulations. You've done a massive thing, and you've done something that not many people will do. And so, like, fucking go you for doing that. And I don't want the accolades. I just want more people to understand that, like, it's doable. It is completely achievable. Like, you can do it. But you just got to set your mind to it, and you just got to find what it is. What is that niche? What is that thing? What is that thing that you love? What is your purpose? Of what do you? And I said this to my men's group. One of the first session that we had, I asked them a bunch of questions, and the one that stuck out the most was, if you could not fail at something, what would you do?
Great question.
And the responses were wild. And I had one of them come back and say, "Oh, I'd love to start a fishing charter." Dude, we live on the water. Go and start a fucking fishing charter. Like, we live. It's a 7-minute walk to the beach. Go and start a fucking fishing charter.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I wish I could. Oh, I'd love, go. Who's stopping? What's stopping you? Finances.
Yeah.
Go. Just buy a boat. Figure it out. If you want it that bad, you'll sell some shit and you'll fucking buy a boat and you'll start a fishing charter.
Yeah.
But you've got to want to do it.
I just want to because this is going to be really valuable.
Go on.
A lot of us base our decisions based off where we are right now, right? To up level and actually create more for yourself, you need to base your decisions based off where you want to be, right? Like a lot of us are moving, this all comes back to money. If in our minds, an investment or a business opportunity requires money, right? So if we are broke as fuck and we don't have any money, that's where we base our decisions from. But then that's what we attract. This is my little daughter here. Okay, you come sit on Dad.
Yeah.
Base your decisions off where you want to be, not where you are right now.
Yep.
That's right. So what would the $1 million version of me right now, how would they make this decision in this moment?
Yeah. Absolutely.
They get resourceful.
Mate, just think. And that's the catch, is that there's such a train of don't think, we'll just do it for you. Just go and do this, just go and do that, because that's the mold that everybody fits into. But we actually, imagine having a world of free thinkers, like what would happen? Like things would actually just start to evolve and people would actually start doing shit that they want to actually do.
Yeah.
That doesn't fit the narrative. So let's just lock it down a little bit tighter and harness them for what they can do. So,
100%.
Mate, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So good. We got the whole gang.
Yeah. Presence, energy's wanted elsewhere. So I really appreciate the hour that we've just spent with each other.
Absolutely, mate. Same. And mate, if you've got any parting words of wisdom, anything else to shout out, mate, is there anything that you'd like to say?
Yeah, I would really like to, for anyone that listens to this and you're moving through a really challenging time right now, just know that it's just a season. It's not forever. It is just a season, and everything in your life is always happening for you, right? Like if you're really challenged right now or you're moving through, I don't know, whatever it is that you're moving through, know that this is a lesson, right? I know that might not make a lot of sense right now, but 6 to 12 months from now, you're going to reflect on this moment and go, I'm so fucking glad that happened.
Absolutely, mate. That's awesome. Brett, thank you so much, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. And mate, we'll do another one in a couple months' time if you're good.
Epic.
All right, brother. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Chat soon.
Have a great day, Dan.
Thank you,
See ya.